Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome to my Warhammer 40k Tau Army XV8 Crisis Battlesuit Let's Build. Now, here we see, opening up the box. Now in this new box you get 3 Crisis suits and 6 drones. And you're just taking all the bits out, making sure it's all there and none of it's damaged. I never had that problem yet, but I like to check anyway. So on the left there you can see the drone pieces along with their flight stands and also the bases. There's the transfer sheet, get rid of that, I won't be using that. And there we go, 3 ready to go. So first things first, I need to cut out the main body. Now for this, taking the body off the sprue, I use a small pair of pliers. You can get ones from Games Workshop, but these ones I just got from a cheap hardware stand. They work quite nicely and they're a bit smaller than some of the others that you can get as well, and it helps you get in between the pieces there, you see, getting in around the arms. So I just took the main body front and back, the chest, and I'm just working on the arms now. What I'll do is I'll probably take the legs off as well, but I used to use a knife to cut these parts off, but used to get different bits and used to slip and not always cut through. I find it a lot easier just to use these pliers like this. Highly recommend getting some if you don't already. Okay, so normally when I'm building these things I follow the instructions. I did have them open on this occasion, despite having made some of these XV8 Crisis Battlesuits up before. And you see there, I just took the feet off. And those feet are probably one of the most fragile parts. Well, I say the feet, it's actually the ball socket that goes into the feet from the legs, but we'll have a look at that later. And now what I'm doing, I'm just cleaning it up. Now the method I use here is to pinch it off, as you see. And I don't necessarily recommend other people to do that because you are cutting towards yourself. Well, once they're all cleaned up, all the bits are cleaned up, bit of glue on, and I use poly cement for that, or a liquid poly. And as you can see, this bit of the battlesuit very rarely fits together neatly. Now I put the back and the middle on together, and then I try and get the front on at the same time and try and compress all 3 together. Now if you can't hold it all together in your hands for long enough, you can try using elastic bands or bulldog clips. So what I do here is I just put a couple of bulldog clips on. The bulldog clips apply much more pressure than the elastic bands would, but the only problem is they're a little bit more tricky to get on. But once I get it on and getting them clamped up, I leave it like that for a little while. I had to take the front bit off to get it clamped up nicely. After letting that set for a while, I put the legs on next. This bit's slightly fast forwarded because it took a little while to do. And this is the difficult bit now, is where you have to get the feet on the bottom of the legs and then the feet onto the stand all lined up without breaking them. They generally don't break, I think, whilst you're building. Here you are. This is where I'm just going to try and put the model in position. I'm not actually gluing it to the stand straight away. I hold it there first, then put the glue on, then put it on the stand. And once it's in a position that I'm quite happy with, I will leave it there. We just need to pop the arms on and we're sorted. But no, those ball sockets on the bottom of the leg tend to break whilst you're playing or in storage. But once that main body part's done, there's a couple of other little bits that need to be stuck on. I've just popped the head on there. And after the head, I cut off the antennas that go on the side. Now in this instance I'm just gently brushing the knife, the blade of the knife down the side, and that just cleans up some mould lines that were on these particular parts. There's not a lot of mould lines on these particular models compared to some of the other models, but Always keep an eye out for mould lines and use either a blade, run the blade along the mould line, or use a file, a small fine file to do that. And once they clean up, again, just a little tiny bit of glue on the appropriate places on the model. If you put too much glue, it will just run all over, and this liquid poly does melt glue. I did have an incident once where liquid poly spilt into my spares tray, and the bottom of my spares tray was just a sea of plastic with funny shapes sticking out of it by the end of it. So here you can see I'm just using the blade to help lift that into position. Some of these parts can be a little bit fiddly if you haven't got very steady hands or very small fingers, but try and get those two in alignment. They're, as far as I know, they're supposed to go at the same angle. One is longer than the other, and they've got a key on the bottom, so that should be fine. So once that's in, that's pretty much the model done, apart from all the accessories. So here you can see me taking all the guns and support systems off the sprue, and then again cleaning it up, cutting towards my thumb, which I don't recommend people do, but personally for me it's what I find works best. After I've done a lot of Warhammer, I do find I have little tiny slits across the front of my thumb, and of course if I slip, then it's not good. But I can assure you in these videos here, I'm not going to show you a video of me cutting my thumb off, so don't worry about that. So yeah, just clean them all up, get all the points where it was connected to all the other parts. And there's not much construction to do on these. The burst cannon that I'm cleaning up now, that comes in two parts that you have to put together. Just get the ends, making sure I get every bit. And there's a little bit of mould lines which I just scrape off there. There we go. So once that bit's done, it's time for magnets. Now I've got a drill here. Now this isn't a drill, it's more of a powered screwdriver. And the drill bit I've got in there is a 3.5mm drill bit. Now you drill on the back of the model into the suit there. I'm not going to do that bit first, I'm going to do this bit here. So the arm is the first bit, and you've got to be careful because it does snag. And you can't do it straight away, of course you have to let the model set and dry from the glue. But as you can see here, the drill is very, very slowly turning. Like I said, the drill bit is a 3.5mm drill bit, and these magnets are 3mm in diameter, so you've got about 5mm to play with, sorry, half a mil to play with, 0.5 in that hole. And there we go, so that's one side drilled out. Now as you can see, I'm very slowly, this isn't slowed down, this is full speed, very slowly turning that bit by bit. And very carefully checking how deep it is, do a little bit more, check how deep it is. After you've done a few, you get a bit more of a feel about how deep you need to go. Try not to go all the way through, otherwise you're going to need to do some clever green stuffing on the other side. So yeah, do it in either arm and on the top of the suit. I'll show you a little closer later. So there we are, one arm, the other arm, and on the back of the suit. You can either do it on the very top or on the angled part. So here I'm changing my blade. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to be using green stuff, which you can get from Games Workshop. You can also get it from other places as well. And the reason why I changed my blade is it does mess up your blade, so I never use a good blade with green stuff. I always used like a really old one or one I've used green stuff before. So I'm mixing up the green stuff and then put it into a cylindrical shape, a long thin one like so, and then because this bit of the model's hollow, feed it into the hole. Okay, down inside the model, push a good bit in as you can, and then cap it off just by pulling it off. There's the ball joints on the legs I mentioned earlier, not completely set by the looks of it. And then try and just push as much green stuff into that hole as possible. You're not really trying to fill up the whole of that void inside, but you need to get a good bit in. So we move on to the magnets. Now if you've done any magnets before, get a weapon like I have here and just drop the magnet onto it, and that makes sure you get the correct polarity, and then push the weapon and the magnet into the hole with the green stuff. Press the magnet down into the green stuff. Some of the green stuff will come out, and then just use that green stuff that comes out to fold it up and over the magnet. There we go, folding it up and over, and just covering it and burying it in that hole. And it's as easy as that, really. The thing you've just got to get right is to make sure all your magnets are the right way around. So it's a good idea to have a master piece with a magnet stuck to it to say this is the way around that all the weapons go, this is the way around all the body bits go. So then I leave it overnight so that the green stuff has a chance to set. It won't be 100% set, but it'll be mostly set now overnight. And then I carefully use my knife to cut any excess off. So the burst cannon is quite easy to do, and some of the other ones are fairly easy. I find the plasma rifle that I'm doing now the most difficult because it does interfere with the side slightly, but you know, a little bit of careful cleanup with a knife or a file will sort that out. And then we just do the cleanup on the model as well. So just over both arms. When you do your cleanup, you might find that the magnet just starts peeping through what's left, and that shouldn't be a problem. If you do get a little bit of a rough surface, that doesn't matter at this point. The green stuff is mainly there to provide a housing for that magnet to be securely. Okay, there we go. Now, talking about the magnets, I will put a link in the description to where I get my magnets from. I'm not saying they're the best place to get magnets from or the only place, it's just where I get mine from. And I will also give you measurements of the size of magnets I use. So there we go, putting things together, and it's as easy as that. That support system I just popped on there has a different size magnet to all the others. That one has a 1mm magnet, it's tiny, but it's a very light piece that sits on the top, and that 1mm magnet sticking to the 3mm magnet is enough. The only other difference is that shield that I just put on there, that's the only support system I use the 3mm magnets for. I just glue it directly to the shield, and then once you've checked it all works okay, you just put some liquid green stuff on. This is quite new from Games Workshop in relative terms, and I just smother the model with some of that and then rub it on with my finger to smooth it down, and that is going to be part of the final finish. Once this liquid green stuff dries, you can then go over with your knife and much finely get a final surface on that. You can use a file or even sand, very fine sand glass finish on there, but I usually use a new blade. But that's it. It is that simple. And there's the finished model. Once it's painted, you won't see that green stuff. It should be okay. You won't see any divots or indentations. And there we see it with burst cannon, shield, and it can be quite easily changed over. Next you'll see plasma rifle and your shield and your support systems there. Well, there we go. There's the XV8 Battlesuit. Hope you enjoyed the build. Any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try and answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.